I'm Lindsay Cremery. I'm a project manager with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. I'm standing here at one of the restoration sites on Skunk Creek. Skunk Creek is a cold water habitat stream, and it's in the Nemadji River Watershed. And the Nemadji River flows into the western portion of Lake Superior. This area is prone to erosion and sediment issues just from the nature of its red clay soils. You can easily see the reddish color of the water flowing into Lake Superior after a big rain event.
I'm Jenny Jasperson. I'm a watershed scientist for the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. Today I'm out on Skunk and Elim creeks checking on stream monitoring equipment. MPCA and other local and state agencies through partnerships have been collecting data on these streams since 2009. These data have brought to light some stream health issues. Both Skunk Creek and Elim Creek are on Minnesota's impaired waters list. Skunk Creek is listed for turbidity associated with excess sediment, and Elim Creek is listed for not meeting the biological criteria set for fish in a Minnesota northern cold water stream.
In the 1970s, a series of projects were completed in the Skunk Creek watershed with the idea that we needed to slow the flow of water to help reduce erosion. We know that most of the erosion that occurs on Skunk Creek is happening due to erosion processes within the stream. So the ideas were we needed to slow the flow of water, and then we needed to deal with the erosion that was happening on the channel. So there were a series of dams that were built, some experimental projects, and then there was a structure on County Road 103. There was a lot of roadside erosion that was occurring, and the Transportation Department worked with the Soil and Water Conservation District to come up with this idea of diverting the stream from the 12-foot stream width to this 4-foot culvert. And the idea was that the water would flow through this culvert during normal flow, because during normal flow the stream isn't very wide, and then during high flows the water would back up behind this culvert and then eventually travel overland over a concrete weir. And while this project did slow down the erosion that was occurring next to County Road 103, it had a lot of unintended consequences. One of those consequences was, of course, that fish could no longer move freely up and down Skunk Creek. They were completely cut off from downstream waterways. The other issue that happened was that erosion, that backed up water, was causing erosion upstream of where that structure took place. And so now we had a new problem that was occurring. So together, the Soil and Water Conservation District and the Carleton County Transportation Department worked to come up with a solution, and we used funding from the Board of Water and Soil Resources and the Fish and Wildlife Service, and we were able to use natural channel design to help direct the flow of water away from unstable banks that were impacting the road, and also take that concrete weir out and that culvert out and restore the stream so now fish can move up and down freely along Skunk Creek.
This project stabilized a vulnerable section of stream and opened up 7 miles of cold water habitat with the removal of a culvert and weir structure that had been limiting fish passage. Prior to the start of the project, few fish species were sampled in Elim Creek and the upper sections of Skunk Creek, and both reaches were absent of trout. A resample of the fish communities following implementation work showed the presence of both brook trout and brown trout, as well as a 3-fold increase in total number of fish and fish species. Monitoring is planned to continue in this watershed over the next several years as more implementation work is rolled out.
In addition to the stream restoration near County Road 103, local partners are looking to reduce road gravel from being washed into Skunk Creek. They're installing stormwater basins that help collect the stormwater runoff and release it more slowly. Projects were also completed on Elim Creek, which is an important tributary to Skunk Creek. In the 1970s, dams were built in the Elim Creek subwatershed, and their goal was to slow the flow of water and to reduce sediment to downstream streams like Skunk Creek. A series of 3 dams were a concern due to their condition. These dams were in the headwaters of Elim Creek. One dam had already failed, releasing 300 tons of sediment downstream. The 2 upper structures had rusted infrastructure and were at risk of failing, which would have washed an additional 900 tons of sediment downstream. The Carleton SWCD received grants from the Board of Water and Soil Resources through the Clean Water, Land and Legacy Amendment, along with matching funds from the Fish and Wildlife Service to remove the failing structures and restore the stream. This project restored 1.3 miles of Elim Creek. Future work in this watershed includes replacing a perched and undersized culvert directly downstream of the stream restoration on Elim Creek. The project will improve fish passage and help reduce erosion that is currently occurring at the culvert outlet.
Projects like these take a great deal of planning to make possible, and so many partners have come together and have done the research and have done the monitoring and assessment and have created the watershed management plans, all leading to the implementation of these restoration projects. It's all one big group effort, with much credit going to the local SWCD office and the local highway department. We look forward to the upcoming projects in this watershed and have plans to continue monitoring here into the future.